Mud sucks at your boots as artillery walks closer through the trees. Rain drips off your helmet and into your eyes, while every sound in the forest feels wrong. You are a World War II soldier stuck in enemy territory, cut off, hunted, and one bad choice away from disappearing forever. Your map is soaked, your radio is dead, and the men with you are looking at you like you somehow still know the way out. Somewhere behind you, your own lines are miles away. Somewhere ahead of you, patrol dogs start barking. You can lose your life here. You can lose the others with you too. And the worst part is that this is not the end of your story. This is the story of how your life leads you to this patch of mud, smoke, and fear. But your life does not start here. Level 1. Small Town Boy. Long before uniforms and shellfire, you were just a kid in a town that feels too small for the world closing in around it. You grow up with dirt roads, cold mornings, and grown-ups who go quiet whenever the radio starts talking about Europe. You hear names of countries you have never seen, but you can tell they matter because every adult suddenly sounds tired. Your father works hard and says little. Your mother tries to keep life normal, but even you can feel the tension sitting at the dinner table like another person. As a boy, war still feels far away. It sounds like newspaper ink, train whistles, and rumors carried by men outside the store. Then one year, the rumors stop sounding like rumors. More young men leave town. Some come back in uniform for a day before shipping out again. Some do not come back at all. You watch them and feel two things at once: fear and a strange pull you cannot explain. Part of you wants to stay invisible forever. Part of you wants to prove that you are not made of soft things. By the time you are old enough, the country doesn't really ask what you want. The war is now a fact, not a headline. Factories work day and night. Families save scraps. Everyone is expected to do something. You tell yourself you are joining to protect home, to stop evil before it reaches people you love. That is true, but another truth sits underneath it. You are young. You think endurance is the same as being unbreakable. You have no idea how expensive that mistake will be. Level 2. Becoming a soldier. The first thing the army takes from you is your old rhythm. Days stop belonging to you. A whistle decides when you wake up. A sergeant decides when you run. A rifle decides how your shoulder feels at night. Training is not glamorous. It is mud, blisters, shouted corrections, and learning how to move even when your body begs you to stop. You learn to strip your weapon in the dark. You learn to read a compass with numb fingers. You learn how to keep marching when the man next to you throws up and keeps going anyway. At first, everything feels performative, like everyone is acting tougher than they are. Then small cracks show. One recruit freezes during live fire. Another cries after reading a letter from home. You realize nobody here is fearless. They are just trying not to be the first one to fail. That includes you. You get better. Not because you become some natural warrior, but because repetition hardens you. Your hands move faster, your aim steadies. You stop hearing every insult from instructors as personal and start hearing them as survival. You also build the kind of friendship only misery can make. You eat with the same men, march with them, laugh with them in the few stolen quiet moments. You start memorizing little things. Who snores? Who lies about missing home? Who keeps a photo tucked inside his jacket? By the end of training, you look sharper, move quicker, and carry yourself like someone the war has already started shaping. But underneath that polish, you are still carrying a civilian heart. You just don't know yet how quickly war can crush it flat. Level 3. First deployment. The trip overseas feels unreal up until it does not. You spend days packed in with other soldiers, all of you pretending that routine somehow makes this normal. Cards get played, letters get reread, jokes get recycled until they are not funny anymore. Then the coast appears, then the smoke appears, then the illusion dies. Your first time near combat is a shock your body never fully forgets. The ground shakes in ways that do not feel natural. The air itself seems ripped apart. Orders come fast, and you follow them because stopping to think feels more dangerous than moving. You learn quickly that battle is not one clean, heroic moment. It is confusion, it is noise, it is dirt in your mouth and fear pressing against your ribs while you try to remember the next step. You also learn how random survival can be. A man a few feet from you goes down, another stumbles, gets back up and keeps firing like nothing happened. You don't get time to process any of it. By nightfall, you are different. Not older, exactly, just stripped down. The version of you that once imagined war as flags and speeches starts to vanish. In its place, something more practical grows. You focus on small things: dry socks, a clean weapon, cover, distance, timing. The men around you stop being names on a roster and become your world. You trust them with your life because there is no other option. Weeks turn into months. You move through ruined villages, hedgerows, roads turn to mud, and fields scarred by shell holes. You stop reacting to every distant blast. That scares you more than the blasts themselves. It means this life is becoming normal. And if it can become normal, then maybe anything can. Level 4. Hard Lessons. By now, you are no longer the new guy. Replacements arrive with clean faces and nervous energy, and you see your old self in every one of them. You help them pack gear right. You tell them to stay low. You warn them that panic is contagious. Some listen, some need to learn the hard way. You rise because people above you disappear. Sometimes they are promoted, sometimes they are wounded, sometimes they are simply gone by the end of the day. Responsibility lands on you in ugly, practical pieces. Keep the squad moving, count ammunition, choose who scouts ahead, write down names after a fight. That last part never gets easier. You become the kind of soldier who notices everything: a broken branch where nobody should be, fresh tracks near a road, silence in a farmhouse that should not be silent. This keeps people alive. It also keeps your nerves stretched tight all the time. Sleep turns shallow. Food starts tasting like necessity instead of comfort. Letters from home feel like they belong to another planet. Still, you hold on to them. They remind you there is a version of life where people wake up and think about weather instead of mortar fire. You survive enough operations that others start trusting your judgment. That should feel good. Sometimes it does. More often, it feels heavy. Trust means their lives lean on your choices now. You stop chasing glory. You start chasing outcomes. Get in, get out. Bring as many men back as possible. That becomes your whole religion. Then your unit gets orders for a deep push through contested ground. You are told resistance is scattered. You are told speed matters. You are told the enemy is retreating. By this point, you know half of what gets said before an operation is optimism dressed up as certainty. Still, you move out, because that is what soldiers do. Level 5. Behind the lines. The mission starts simple enough. Advance through wooded ground, link up with another unit, scout a route for the larger force moving behind you. The weather is bad, visibility is worse, and the roads are more mud than road. Your squad moves in short bursts, listening harder than you breathe. At first, the signs seem manageable: an abandoned truck, spent casings, a farmhouse left in a hurry. Then the pattern shifts. You find tire tracks heading where they should not be. You hear engines at odd hours. You catch movement in places your map marks as friendly approach lanes. The front is not a clean line anymore. It is bent, broken, and folding in on itself. Then everything goes wrong fast. An explosion tears up the road behind you. Machine gun fire cuts through the trees. Men dive for cover, shouting directions you can barely hear over the ringing in your ears. You return fire, crawl through mud, and try to count who is still moving. When the shooting finally thins, your world has shrunk. A few men are with you, Others are dead, missing, or cut off. The radio set is smashed. The route back is now crawling with enemy movement. You are no longer scouting near the front. You are trapped behind it. That truth settles in slow and sickening. Every rule changes. You cannot hold ground. You cannot call support. You cannot afford noise, light, or hesitation. You study the map under a poncho while rain taps like fingers above your head. There is a river to the west, woods to the north, and enemy patrol routes somewhere in between. One wounded man can still walk if pushed. Another needs help standing. They look to you, not because you are fearless, because someone has to choose. You decide to move at night and hide by day. You decide that survival is now the mission. And deep down, you know the real battle is just beginning. Level 6. Enemy Territory. Night turns the forest into a maze of black trunks and whispering leaves. Every step feels loud. Every snapped twig sounds like a death sentence. You guide the survivors through mud, ditches, and low ground, stopping whenever distant voices drift too close. Nobody talks unless they have to. Even breathing feels like a risk. Hunger starts to chew at everyone. The wounded slow you down, but leaving them is not an option your mind can accept. One of them starts shaking from fever. Another keeps apologizing for needing help, which somehow makes it worse. You tell them to save their strength, but your own strength is fading too. By dawn, you find shelter in the ruins of a barn half swallowed by brush. You spend the day listening. Vehicles pass on a road you cannot see. Boots crunch nearby once, then fade. A dog barks in the distance, and every muscle in your body locks. That night, you push on again. You cross a ditch full of icy water. You crawl under barbed wire. You nearly walk into a patrol and have to flatten yourself into mud while flashlight beams slide across the trees. You can smell wet wool, tobacco, and oil from enemy gear yards away. This is the moment from the beginning. This is your life as a WW2 soldier stuck in enemy territory. Your map is soaked. Your radio's dead. Patrol dogs are getting closer. One wrong move, and the whole forest erupts. Then the worst break comes. The man with the fever can barely stand. If you keep carrying him, sunrise catches all of you in the open. If you leave him, he dies alone in hostile ground. You kneel beside him while shells rumble somewhere far off, and for a second, the war stops being strategy, uniforms, or borders. It becomes one impossible choice in the dark. He sees it on your face. He grips your sleeve and makes it clear without needing many words that the rest of you have to keep moving. You hate him for being right. You hate yourself more for listening. You leave him hidden with what little water and ammunition you can spare. The silence after that feels permanent. Hours later, enemy scouts close in again. This time, you cannot avoid contact. You ambush them at close range, fast and brutal, then run before reinforcements arrive. One of your men goes down in the sprint. Another twists his ankle crossing a ditch. You drag, shove, and half carry what remains of your squad toward the river marked on your map. At the bank, the water looks black and freezing. Behind you, voices rise. Ahead of you, the current pulls hard. You choose the river. The cold punches the air out of your chest. Gear drags you down. Your legs cramp. For a second, you think this is where it ends, not with bullets, but with dark water swallowing all the noise. Then, your boots hit mud. You crawl onto the far bank, coughing, shaking, alive. Not safe, but alive. And for the first time in days, the sounds behind you are getting smaller. Level 7. What survives? Friendly scouts find you at dawn, looking less like soldiers and more like ghosts dragged out of the earth. They pull their guns at you first because that is how this war works. Then they pull you in, wrap blankets around the wounded, and radio for medics. You want to explain everything at once. Instead, all that comes out are a few broken facts and the names of the men who do not make it back with you. After that, time gets strange. You sleep for hours and wake up feeling like you are still in the forest. A slammed door sounds like artillery. Steam rising from soup looks like smoke over wet ground. Doctors check your body. Nobody can really check what is happening in your head. Command wants details, routes, numbers, unit markings. You give them what you remember. They call it useful intelligence. You hear words like brave and resilient. They slide off you. All you can think about is the man you leave behind, and whether he dies cursing your name or blessing the choice that saves the others. The war keeps moving because wars always do. New offensives begin, maps change, fronts shift. You return to duty eventually because there aren't enough men and because part of you no longer knows how to live any other way. But you are not the same. You move more carefully. You trust optimism even less. You carry survival like a scar nobody else can fully see. When the war finally ends, people back home ask what it is like. You never find a clean answer. You talk about weather, rations, and long marches, because those are easier. You do not talk much about mud, dogs in the dark, or the moment you learn that leadership sometimes means choosing which pain you can survive. Years later, the forest visits you in dreams. You wake up hearing boots in wet leaves and feeling river water in your lungs. You survived the war. Part of you never really leaves enemy territory. And that's your life after surviving the true horrors of World War II.